everyone. My name is Joe Pereira, and welcome to Mind and Money Matters. Every year, when the snow melts, the ice thaws, and the days start to get longer, something magical happens around here. From Leominster to Framingham to Cambridge and Boston, about 60,000 people go crazy. They ride sound waves. Yes, you heard that correctly. They ride sound waves. They experience carbon dioxide showers. They watch children encapsulated in film bubbles, use gels to analyze people's DNA, make their own iPhone cases, send rockets into the sky at 200 miles an hour, order robots around, and dance to music while thinking about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein? It all sounds very good and very strange, and it's all the clever doing of a group of nerdy types that include MIT, the city of Cambridge, a host of universities, businesses, schools, and community organizations, which hold something called the Cambridge Science Festival. Now, in its 9th year, the festival has become such a hit that it has turned into a 10-day carnival celebrated in more than a dozen cities around Boston. And lucky for those of you on the South Shore, you won't have to travel far this year. Quincy has been invited to participate in this, shall we say, Stephen Hawking meets Curious George event. In a few moments, we'll get a chance to speak to the festival's Quincy coordinators and also more about the strange and exciting science technobration. That's a new word I just coined. But first, let me just say this before we get started. A whole bunch of science and technology and really cool companies are sponsoring this event. Biogen IDEC, Pfizer, Genzyme, Novartis, Google, IBM, Microsoft, and South Shore's 30 Hands Learning, Positive BCS, Gateway to Science, Sports and Games, and the Quincy College Science Department, to name a few. And you know why? They want your children. They want your children to get interested in science and technology and to come work for them or do research in a few years. That said, let's get to our guests right now, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Eric, you want to go first?
Sure. So I'm Eric Brown. I'm from Hanover, but currently working at the Quincy Center for Innovation in Quincy. I studied computer science. I studied liberal arts. I've been a computer programmer. I've been a technology leader, started a lot of companies in the high-tech industry. And my current company that I co-founded is called 30 Hands Learning, and we're trying to help students learn more STEM-oriented skills. We're helping teachers to learn how to do things more hands-on in the schools, and the Science Festival is really exciting for us.
Kathy?
Well, you wanted to know about my science background. Well, it started way back in a very, very brief, sketchy way. I learned a little bit about physics when I went to nursing school. Then years later, when I went to college to be a teacher, we took science classes, including earth science, which I really liked, science methods. And a few years after that, I was raising money at Boston College for an athletic scholarship in memory of my uncle, Father Morris DeLay, who used to be the athletic director. And I thought of this combination of athletics and academic subjects. I thought of using sports and games to help kids understand physics and geometry. And then a few years after that, I took a class in physics. And I've been self-educating myself then, and along with the help of others, including my mentor, Dick Leonard. And then I call this concept Gateway to Science, Sports and Games, because it promotes the idea of learning science through play, very basically.
Very interesting. Eric? I'm sorry, Manuel?
Hi, I'm Manuel Barroso. I'm a computer systems engineer, and I have a postgraduate diplomas in multiple areas, including project management. And I was helping and leading many technology companies to transform from either print shops to become digital media companies, to become from hands-on to really become fully integrated value chains for over 20 years. I was a former partner and principal at PricewaterhouseCoopers and IBM, and now I am an executive partner at Positive BCS Consulting. And since 2006, I have been co-directed and participated in many science weeks and helping, really to get involved the kids into science in private schools, different venues, including some of the schools in Milton. I live now in Quincy with my family and kids, and I'd love to be part of the Science Festival here in the South Shore.
So as you can see, if we were to take an average IQ in this room, excluding mine, of course, it would probably be about 150, and I want you to know that 135 is the beginning of a Mensa Club membership. So we've got a lot of brain thrust here, but the question that I have that keeps burning my soul every night almost is, why is it that companies in the US, such as Google and Facebook and Apple and Microsoft, all have to go outside of the United States to fill jobs that are here in America? I want to read to you this just broke a couple of days ago. It's a story that came on the AP that I got that says basically applications for H-1B visas, allowing U.S. businesses to hire foreign workers in science, engineering, and computer programming, totaled a record 233,000 for fiscal 2016, which is going to begin in a couple of months, according to government figures that were released just a couple of days ago on Monday. And of course, every company is not going to get their wish, because to help Americans get into some of these jobs, Congress is limiting the number of these visas to brainy people outside of the U.S. to only 85,000 this year. And despite a lot of lobbying by tech companies to raise the cap, I don't understand what is the problem here. I want to ask very, very smart guests who are running companies that require lots of brains, why are companies looking to foreigners to file American jobs?
Well, Joe, we have a real problem. There are over 1 million computer science jobs that are unfulfilled right now in America. And if you add engineering and other technology and science jobs, we just don't have enough people that are educated and able to do the jobs. So if Americans can't do it, we have to look elsewhere. That's one of the reasons why we're trying to help get kids nowadays more excited about science and technology, get them into computer coding, get them into engineering.
Manuel, do you have a thought?
Yes, well, we truly believe that our American kids have the potential to become the leaders in technology and ensure that they keep their jobs here. But to do so, they also need to learn mathematics and science and apply them to engineering and technology. That's one key. And
well, I think you hit the nail on the head, because the other statistic that is sort of really mind-blowing is the fact that this is the United States of America. We are the biggest economy in the world. We can buy, we can do anything we want. And this is from Business Insider. That's this year it came out, these statistics. In math, the US ranks 36 in the world, behind China, Korea, Switzerland, Belgium, Poland, Canada, Liechtenstein, wherever that country is. The US is 36 in math. The US is 25 in reading. We'll skip that. But in science, the US is 28. We have the biggest science and technology companies in the entire world, and we are 28th. And that's because of the quality of math and science education that's really far behind those of the other countries. I don't understand, why is it that we are behind? Any of you have an opinion on why at the education level, even though sometimes we spend for private education $35,000 a year at the high school level, at the middle school level, why is it that after all of that money being poured into education, we can't even be in the top 10? We're 28 in science and 36 in math.
I think a lot of it has to do with interest level. The students don't really want to study the sciences, and we're somehow not making them attractive enough. part of making things interesting to kids is if they get hands-on and they really work with things. Then it's fun. Then, as Kathy says, it's play. Sports and play are really science-related as well. So if we can combine these hands-on activities with the learning, then we're hoping that we can better inspire the kids to learn that. It's not just about telling them you have to do this, because we know that if it's good for them, they don't really want to do it, right? But if we can make it fun, then hopefully we'll get them more inspired.
Nintendo proved that correct, right? They made video games the American pastime of young people.
Absolutely.
And that's right. You know, kids cannot wait until they become teenagers to learn science. So they need to begin when they are young, not even in kindergarten. They have to start tasting it. They have to, as Kathy said, merging the playing and science and continue to embrace it. But they cannot do it themselves. Parents really need to get involved into make exciting science for them. And science is fun. And, you know, mathematics are fun. Parents not only have to rely on the teachers, but also make a full environment where they make promote it and really get encourage them to having fun of the science. Don't be afraid of science.
So let me ask you this, the three of you are scientists. Exclude me from this. You guys are in this world. How young were you and how did you get interested in something that's boring to the average American kid?
I don't know. I think my mother was always frustrated because I would take apart the toaster and everything that I could take apart to figure things out, I did. And usually I could put it back together, but not always. I think that exploration, that discovery is an important part of learning. And I think, aren't you finding that as well, Kathy?
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, my own learning wasn't that hands-on type. I remember in nursing school, when I really started to get a good understanding was in my last year, and I'm glad I was there for my last year, because we had to use Dr. Arthur Guyton's medical school textbook to study electrocardiograms and the physiology of the waves, the Q waves, and so forth. And we also had to learn in other things that we were studying about what actually went on right at the cellular level, not in a general bodily way, but right there where the action is. And that really gave me a much better grasp of what was going on. And that's the way I need to learn. I really need to get down to the foundations. That's characterized my learning all along. I can't memorize things. And so when it comes to children, I think they can do a lot better in school, especially as they get into high school in science and math. If they start as young children, and there's a pretty simple way to do it, doesn't have to be difficult, of teaching them the language of physics through their games. I have a story.
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I have a story that I wrote, and then it becomes part and parcel of you. You know, it's just kids learn language. It's just another addition to their language of something that their body understands, and that's getting very basic, and it gets reinforced all the time because it's everyday actions, and that's a real important. And then when they get into other things in school, they'll have a better foundation for STEM applications.
We need to explain
Right,
to the
STEM.
people what STEM is.
Right.
Science? What
Yeah,
is it?
science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Mathematics.
And I don't know when this approach began, but it's a really good one. And it gets kids doing things in a hands-on way. My personal feeling is that what I'm trying to get out there is to get this physics concepts across to kids before they get into STEM's activities. And then they'll really have a good understanding of what it's about, why the arch to a building needs to be a certain way, and it has to do with the center of gravity and supporting things. They'll know it from their play.
Yeah, it's nothing that
Daniel, you have children, right?
Yes.
Are you trying to get them started in STEM very early?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, same as my parents did with us. You know, my parents are chemical engineer, and he let us actually test with the mattresses and test mixing things. So when we were little, in kindergarten, and also do experiments on the garden and play around with things. The same as Eric, disassemble things, put them back together. And then we do the same with the kids and his friends. We encourage them really to go and explore things, build things, actually find out things about nature, about the science, about the mathematics, how things work together. Even sometimes we talk about just processes, like we do in the company. Say, well, it's a simple thing. People think process is complex. It's as simple as what you do in the morning. You wake up, you take out your pajamas, you go to the shower, then you go to breakfast, you clean your teeth, you get ready to go to the school, you pack your things, you go into the car. You already made a process that you're gonna follow, and many things can become in a process, and you can probably improve every day on things. You can find out what you do and can you do better. And then you get into the scientific mode on how they can get improving things themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you wake up, brush your teeth, take apart the toaster, drink your milk, then go to school.
That's also valid. It's always about trying different things.
And you put it on an Excel spreadsheet.
And what I would do then, I would look up a word in the dictionary, because I've always gone to the dictionary since I was 8 years old. My dad introduced me to that. And still now I use it when I find a new, especially a scientific word. It's the first place I go. And I learn a lot about a word just from its definition and its origins. It gives me a sense of how it came to be what it is now. And so I would do that in the morning, look in the dictionary.
So now you guys are going to be missionaries, burning with a desire to spread the gospel of STEM, all right? The gospel according to STEM, or by STEM, and for STEM. I think everybody will be sick of the word by the end of the show. So you're going to try to make science and technology really interesting to kids as young as 4 and 5, come Saturday, April 25, not very far from here.
Right.
Give us a kind of a teaser of what sorts of interesting things you will have in store for the audience that will come out there.
So one of the things we're going to do, I can show you a little bit here. We're going to teach kids how to program using a program called Scratch.
Okay.
And if you can see that here, let's program the cat. So I touch on this little cat here. I'm going to go to the yellow spot and give a starting point. I'm going to go to the blue area, and I'm going to make him walk. Touch on the number 1. I'll make him walk 5 steps. Then I'm going to bring down this little flip and have him flip 12 units, which is a full flip. And I'm going to have him walk back 5 steps. Now I've got to go to the ending area, and I'm going to have him repeat. When I click the green flag, we can see what happens. Look at that. We programmed the cat. Isn't it great? So that's just a simple example of one of the things we're going to do. We're going to get hands-on with robotics. We're going to do some digital storytelling. We're even going to make a funhouse mirror, or a couple of them, if we can get all the materials together and see how a funhouse mirror works.
Yeah. What is digital storytelling?
So digital storytelling is using technologies like an iPad or a tablet to tell a story using pictures, videos, drawings, and recording your voice on top of it. An extension of that is stop motion video. So we can show students how they can draw pictures and have them develop into motion like they do with cartoons and comic strips.
Are these programs that you developed yourself?
So one of the programs 30 Hands developed, and there are a couple of others that we're going to use as well.
Oh wow, that's pretty interesting. So you're doing your own video games for iPads and for portables?
Almost, yeah.
Do you have to be a certain age to play these games? Can 4 and 5-year-olds do it, or do you have to be a little bit older?
So the amazing thing is that a lot of these tools, including the 30 Hands app, are really accessible to even kindergarten and pre-K students. The iPad is such an easy device. They can drag and drop, and oftentimes we find that kindergartners are teaching their teachers how to use the tools.
Right.
Well, yeah, iPad is not easy for me. I always want to throw it against the wall. I have an older version, but that's not an excuse. Manuel, Kathy, what are you going to do that's going to be so exciting for the
So
4-year-olds?
exciting. Well, not just 4-year-olds. We're going to have hula hooping, and I encourage people to bring their own hula hoops. I've been told that mine are not the best quality, and I'm sure people have better ones than I
I
have.
think, hopefully you'll have some wider ones, because I don't think I could fit into that.
Oh wait, that's the smallest one I
That's the
brought.
smallest one?
Yeah,
Okay.
right. We have a lady who's coming who's a magnificent hula hooper. She does it on Wollaston Beach a lot. Some people may have seen her there.
And what's the science connection to the
Yeah,
hula?
good question. The main science that I use in hula hooping is to teach about torque, or a turning science, a turning force. And it's just whenever you turn or twist something, you're creating torque. And the jump roping is the same principle, except it's going this way. That's creating torque. And there are other forces that are involved in this too. Angular momentum, for one, axis of rotation, and other things. So it's an easy way just to become exposed to these concepts. And when you're doing it, it reinforces it. That's what I love about it. And it's not just something you're reading about in a book. You're actually doing it, liking it. Tug of war. We're going to have a tug of war. And I'm hoping to use that to teach the second law of motion. And what else? Science and stories. I wrote a story myself, and it's called The Sled, A Matter of Some Gravity. And it's about the energy that you have to exert and the gravity that's always present in the same amount, depending on whether you have to go uphill or downhill. You have to do a lot of work, but then you can enjoy the ride. No work involved. So I'd like to get more stories done like this and encourage other people to do that too. Also, I have another technique, finding science in stories, and we're going to be reading some stories like this to the children and their parents and showing them how you can do it. And I think a big result of this is when parents or teachers read these stories, they'll think, this is physics? Oh, that's not so hard. I understand it. And I think that can help to dispel a lot of the fear that people have of physics.
Well, physics, the physics I took was not that much fun. Gravitational coordinates. What are you going to show us, Emmanuel, on Saturday?
So we're gonna show things. You were talking about how we're gonna ensure kids lead a transformation in the country, how they grow in their expertise in here. So I am sure a lot of kids love Legos. So we're gonna use Legos to actually simulate how the factories do what they want to do. For example, you want to buy a car, you want to buy a chair or a TV or an iPad, but how you design it. So we want to play, some of the kids going to be the customers, going to tell the people what they need. Then the people in the factory going to make a design, to try to see what these guys got. They're going to go back into the other table and say, let's go and build it. But to build it, we need to buy pieces. So they're going to do the full supply chain, what is we doing. So the things that we do with the big guys in consulting to help with the full value chain, we're going to do with the kids so they can, pretend that they're procuring, they're buying stuff, selling it, building it, and delivering to the client to ensure that they are delivering. When they learn that, and we can ensure that instead of bringing this across from China, we can bring this across the state so that we can embrace the full value chain within our own areas.
So they won't have to go to MIT to learn all of this.
No,
They
that
can learn it right here on Saturday.
That's right.
That's right.
Right, they're gonna exactly. You don't have to go to MIT. Just go to Saturday
Right.
25th, and you can learn about that.
What
here.
could be easier?
So the
And-
question, go ahead.
Yeah, the other ones are talking about the cloud. Everybody talks about the cloud, not the clouds in the raining, but the other cloud where everything is there. We're gonna explain how that works as well. So if somebody's curious about what is a cloud, come and join us as well.
Cloud. Okay. All right. We'll have to get to that in a second. So I think everybody wants to know why you're sitting here. In other words, why are you involved with this? What are you gaining from participating in this science festival that so far Quincy has not really participated in? Why are you doing it? This is the first time? Is this your idea?
Actually, a year ago, Bruce Van Dyke, who runs the biotechnology program at Quincy College, did have an open house for his new lab, is part of the Cambridge Science Festival. So he really opened the door for Quincy to get involved. And I went to his open house and I congratulated him on it. And when we decided to do that this year, I got in touch with him and he was delighted to come on board. So he's going to be doing some biotechnology things. We're also have an optometrist who's going to teach us about refraction. We have an optician, a gemologist, who's also going to teach us about refraction. And we have a nature studies person, we have recycling games, we have improvisation, learning to think on your feet. There's a lot more that I'm not even thinking of right now, but there's a big variety of things.
So this is why we call it a fun house, because we want to put all these games together, the science games and activities. A lot of this has to do with serendipity as well. You know, Bruce had done something with the Science Festival a little bit last year. I was at a conference, I ran into some people from the Cambridge Science Festival. I was interested in what they were doing, and we started talking about how can we do something bigger and better. And they want to sort of expand outside of Cambridge and have this be a bigger and bigger event. Because we're on the Red Line, it's such a natural extension.
We're part of the Science Corridor.
Yes.
We are.
Cambridge,
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And the Innovation Corridor, you know, we like to say the Red Line connects everything together. At the Quincy Center for Innovation, that's one of the things that we're doing too. We're trying to group together innovators and entrepreneurs that are around the area so that we are doing cool things down here in the South Shore, but if we're not grouped together, then it doesn't have as much power. So that's a little bit of what we're doing. And you know, each of us has a little connection. My company is in education and technology, so we work with science and teachers and kids all the time. It's just sort of a natural extension of what we do to do it more with the kids here.
So you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart to get kids up and running in science?
So, well, some of it's the goodness of the heart, but what I found is if we can channel all the things that we're doing in our lives in a similar direction, it makes it so much easier to do more. So I'm working with education, I'm working in the Quincy Center for Innovation. Science is interesting. If we can focus it, put it all together, we don't have to do as much work to get more done.
I'm
Yeah,
hope. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things that really excites me is, you know, when you see the face of a kid, then he understands how something works, and you can see that smile. It's really rewarding.
Right.
So they can try to figure out something, but within they can understand how something works. It's really, and then that opens an interest on them to become a scientist and start innovating and start creating things. You know, that's.
I just wanted to say that somebody else who has been helping us to put this together, Pana Sarkar, she works with children across America. It's a wonderful organization. And they are too going to be presenting some sessions to help kids learn science words. And she's been doing the media contacting, and she's done a great job. And she'll be there on Saturday, the 25th, in a general way to help out. So I just wanted to let you know.
Put a plug in for Parna.
She's been a big part of this. She just couldn't be here tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds really very interesting. It's free. There's no charge to this. It's a great way for kids to get interested in numbers and moving stuff around so that they could go on in middle school and high school to do well in chemistry and physics and all of the other sciences. It's at 180 Colony Avenue.
Old Colony.
Old Colony Avenue. And it starts at 9 o'clock and it goes all the way to 3:30.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. And you will have booths there. It's a very brand new building. It's very attractive. God has told me that it's going to be 72 degrees on that day. Trust me. And so you're going to have a lot of fun. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows about this really very great opportunity to expose your children to the STEM programs that America is so badly in need of. And on that note, I'll say good luck. Hope to see you out there on Saturday, April 25 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The weather is going to be great. And until then, I'm Joe Pereira for Mind and Money Matters. So long, everyone.